What's going on, my people? It's your boy Ryan. Just say live, man. I know I ain't made a video in such a long time. I've been busy. I've been sick. I'm sick now, so forgive my sickness as I'm being sick on the mic. Please just bear with me. I've been on a NyQuil Dayquil regimen, so bear with my mind. I just wanted to make a video real quick, man. It's been like 2 months since I made my own video. I've gotten like 10 subscribers, 15 subscribers by not making videos. So maybe I should just stop making videos, let Professor Asher do his thing so the channel can build. No, I'm just playing. But yeah, um, let's parse through something real quick. We are going to parse. Well, actually, before I parse through something, Ani lo yodea ivrit. That means I don't know Hebrew in modern Hebrew. That's what that means. I don't know Hebrew. What I like to say is I'm learning Hebrew. But as I discuss certain matters with certain people, there's a reoccurring theme. I always get when the person I'm in discussion with understands that I am learning Hebrew, and have a small functioning, and I'm comparing myself to, like, the Professor Ashers or my professors or people that are a lot more far along in the journey than me. That's why I'm saying it's small, very little in comparison to somebody that's been engaging with the Hebrew text for like 15 years. That's not me. I haven't been engaging with the Hebrew text for like no 15 years. But either way, so when I'm discussing something with somebody, and they don't have any formal training in Hebrew, and they learn that I have a little bit of formal training in Hebrew, I always get the Nicodemus text. I always get the text by night. And it's usually always, what do you think about the name Yahuah? Do you think it's the right name? And I say, I usually say, I don't know. I call him Yah. Understand one thing about me, man. I'm a pronomian Christian, okay? I did not come to the knowledge of Torah by the sacred name movement. I did not come to the knowledge of Torah by Hebrew roots. If you ask me, the sacred name movement and Hebrew roots have such bottom of the barrel garbage doctrines. And a lot of it has a lot to do with the Hebrew language. Like, I don't know who it is, but they're literally just making up myths and shooting them out on the internet. And I don't know how it happens, but they trend. But that's not me, man. I am a pronomian Christian. I am a believer in God, and my belief is, in my theological position, based on the revelation that was given to me and the scales being taken off my eyes by the mercy of Yah, my belief is that the best reaction to receiving salvation is to observe God's commandments. And that only applies to covenant believers, believers that are in covenant with Yah. Yeah, I believe that fits Jeremiah chapter 31, 31 through 34. I believe that fits being a new covenant believer perfectly. I also believe that fits Ezekiel 36, 26, and 27. Being a new covenant believer, you receive the spirit of Yah, and Yah compels you, leads you to keeping his commandments with a new heart. And I also believe that it coincides with the apostolic writings, like where the Apostle Paul in Romans chapter 8 talks about we're led by the Spirit and we fulfill the righteous requirements of the law. Because, I mean, that echoes the two other passages that I just quoted from Jeremiah and Ezekiel. This is literally the best representation of being a new covenant believer is you have a passion to keep God's commandments. And it also goes with, I'm sorry, this is my last one. It also goes with the teachings of our Messiah, Yehoshua, specifically in Matthew chapter 5, and when he's rebuking the Pharisees and Sadducees. So that's my position. It ain't got nothing to do with Hebrew roots or the sacred name movement. I've never prayed to God calling him Yahuah. I will say Yah in casual conversation. I don't mind saying Father or God in my private prayer. When it comes down to Yehoshua, or Yeshua, or Jesus, I don't mind saying any of those because I've studied and I'm very confident in what I know about translations, transliterations of that name, and how it went from the it's a Greek name, or excuse me, it's a Hebrew name written in Greek and then translated into Latin, and then like, man, follow the path, do your own study. I don't get convicted when I use the name Jesus at all. But there's a lot of teachings out there that will teach you otherwise. So, like I said, when people come to the knowledge that, I have a little bit of knowledge in regards to biblical Hebrew, I always get that Nicodemus text about Yahuah, and I want to go publicly and say, I don't believe Yah's name is pronounced Yahuah. It doesn't bother me at all when other people pronounce it Yahuah. I mean, that's what you call Yah. What am I going to say about that? The only thing that bothers me is when people that pronounce Yah's name in a different way, or look down upon as if they don't know some type of truth that you've come into the knowledge of. Yeah. So one thing I've learned with the Yahuah movement is a lot of people say that they got that name by revelation, but then they try to support that revelation through academia. What do I mean by that? The name's gotten by revelation. That's one thing. A lot of people get revelations. You got charismatics that's eating Skittles on the rainbow with Enoch. You know what I'm saying? By revelation, vision, getting called up to the fourth heaven, superseding the Apostle Paul. And then you got sacred name movement people that they came into the revelation of Yah's name. Okay, cool. But you can't try to support your revelation with academia in this context, because academia don't support your position. So normally when that happens, people start making up misinformation. They want to believe something so bad that they have to leap through hula hoops to try to make their point truthful, which doesn't make any sense at all. I don't know why all that just came out, but it did. It got serious, bro. All right, man, listen, I'm going to dodge that. So, hold on. That's what I was getting at. My bad, y'all. So when it comes down to the academia, there's let me just say it like this. If any of you know any teacher that teaches Hebrew, or any reader of Hebrew, I'll even lower the bar. If any of you know any reader of Hebrew that pronounces the name Yahuah, or the name of Yah, Yahuah, send me a link. If you got my phone number, you got my phone number. If not, stayinthevision@gmail.com. Stayinthevision@gmail.com. I would like to see if maybe I'm missing something. Maybe there's, teachers somewhere they can do linguistic reconstruction and stuff like that, and make a case that makes sense. So far, everything I've seen on the teachings of Yah's name being Yahuah makes absolutely no sense.
My book of Yahuah, which says Yahweh on it, by me understanding how to pronounce the Creator's name, it is the book of Yahuah. Brothers and sisters, how do we know it's just not Yahweh? Because in the word Yahweh, we see the W, right? I'm going to say it slow. Double U's.
I'm going to show you this right here. This is how you would say Yasha, Yahu. This is really the prophet Isaiah. His name is spelled, Yasha is spelled Yud, Shin, that's not a W, that's a Shin in the Hebrew, Ein. Yasha, Yahu, Yud, Hey, Uah.
People don't know that there's a difference between Paleo Hebrew and modern Hebrew. Modern Hebrew has adopted the Aramaic script. Now, this is the Aramaic script without the altercations with the dots and the dashes, which you see down here, these little dots and these lines, okay?
And I understand if you don't know Hebrew, or if you're not learning Hebrew, it could be like, oh yeah, see, the U, W's, and the U, ah, or what do they call the vav or the wa, the oo or ou, I don't know, man. Trust me when I say it does not make any sense. There is no academic backing behind what these people are talking about. Number one. Number two, I haven't found not one teacher that parses through the text or even reads the text. You don't even got to parse it. Just read the text and then just read it, then say Yahuah. I haven't found that either, which is weird. And I hope some of y'all would ask that same question in your studies or in your research or whatever the case may be. Now, I understand there's a lot of conspiracies. Oh, the Masoretes, they changed the vowels, so you pronounce the name differently. It's really not what they did. But I'm not going to get into that. I already got a video on that, but that's not what they did. Think this. If they wanted to, if the Masoretes, in the Masoretic text, if the Masoretes wanted to hide the name of God, wouldn't they just not write the 4-letter consonants? So we're actually going to parse through something real quick. I want to show y'all something that what the Masoretes actually did do. Let me make this bigger for you. There we go. This is from Job chapter 2, verse 9. This is the famous text. I know you heard this in a sermon or two. It says, "Then said his wife unto him, Dost thou still hold fast thine integrity? Blaspheme God and die." That's what Job's wife said. Now, more famously translated, curse God and die. All right. In the Hebrew, we're going to read, Vatomer lo ishto odcha machazik betumatecha parech Elohim vamut. All right, and just to parse real quickly, I rambled enough at the beginning of this, so I'm not going to go too deep into it. But for my people that's trying to learn Hebrew, this is a Wayik Tol. This is called verb pattern. This is Vav consecutive. And the conjugation is, we know by this Tav. In the prefix, it's a 3 FS. And what that means is third person, feminine, singular. So when I say third person, just as a reminder, or if you never heard this before, third person is like he, she, they, them. Second person is going to be your yous. First person is going to be the I's and we's. Okay. So Vatomer, oh, your 3-letter shorish here. You know, most Hebrew words, they have a 3-letter root. Your 3-letter shorish here is Amer, which means in Kal Katal past perfect, it's he said. But since this is in the Kal Yiktol verb pattern, it's this Tav lets us know it is a third person feminine singular. So Vatomer, and she said, Lo, you got the Lamed prefix and your third person masculine singular suffix. This, well, that turned into an arrow. This Lamed prefix is to, for, or belonging to. In this context, it's going to be to. This third person masculine singular suffix stands for him. So far we got, and she said to him. And then you got ishto. Ishto is actually the person, it's further identifying the she, the person doing the saying. So ishto, Isha is wife. Again, you got your third person masculine singular suffix here with this cholim vowel, which indicates that it's his wife. It's a possessive. So a wood translation would be, and she said to him, his wife, like, you know, kind of like Yoda talk. And she said to him, his wife, Od ha. So od is the adjective, still yet, again, besides is the translation, depending on the context. This is a second person masculine singular suffix. So they have it translated well here. It says, you still. In a wood translation, it would be you, or excuse me, it would be still you, since the od comes first and then the you. Again, it's Yoda talk. So, and she said to him, his wife, still you, machazik. So your 3-letter shorish here is going to be the chet, the zion, and the zion, however you pronounce it, in the kof. Everything, the shell around this, or the paradigm, I should say, represents a he feel. And this is in it's a participle, it's like an ongoing action. And chazak is to take. So that's where we get the hold or as they have to hold fast. And then betumatecha. So here we have the prefix. See that NyQuil is creeping up on me. Here we have the prefix bet, which means in, with, among, by. Insert whatever word you want here. That be is very flexible. In this context, it'd be in, and then temut or tama. Really, this would be like honesty, integrity, and then again you have your second person masculine singular suffix. So this is thine integrity, your integrity. This is I said all that to get here. I'm going to change colors now. She goes on to say, Barech Elohim Vamut. So, of course, we all know Elohim is Elohim. You got the va being and. You got the mut being die. It's called imperative, masculine singular. But I want to focus on this real quick because you talking about Masoretes changing some stuff. Everybody blaming the Masoretes for everything. Check this out, though. This is not curse. This is actually bless. The Hebrew in the Masoretic text, the Aramaic in the Targums, the Greek in the Septuagint, and the Latin in the Latin Vulgate do not translate curse or blaspheme based on a traditional translation. This is a euphemism. So they literally put bless God and die. Now, the reason I say it's a traditional translation is because this was actually meant, but the scribes did not want to write this. They did not want to write curse God. They didn't want to put those two words together. So instead, what did they do? They put bless God and die. This is a euphemism. So when you're reading this, the reader doesn't say curse God and die. They say bless God and die. And this tradition was, it lasted through all of what I just mentioned. We don't have this in the Dead Sea Scrolls to the best of my knowledge, Job chapter 2, verse 9 specifically, but the LXX, it has more of a neutral stance. It says, I could say a word against God and die. I forget exactly what it says, but like it has a more neutral stance. The Latin Vulgate, it follows this tradition specifically, verbatim, saying bless God and die. The Targums, they say bless God and die, but none of them say curse God and die. So it's really, really funny how nobody wanted to write that. So even though we got it in English, the true reading of it is bless God and die. And although that is the true meaning, like that's what Job's wife really said, which is curse God and die, no scribe wanted to pin that on their parchment. So I found that pretty cool. I found that very interesting. That's all I got. I'm sorry for the rambling in the beginning, but as I was, looking at this text and when I learned about this, because I never read Job in Hebrew before. Job is very hard to read in Hebrew, which is why I'm only on chapter 2. But when I read this, I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. So here you have an instance that nobody brings up as far as the Masoretes or whoever that's changing the Bible and stuff like that. They literally changed what was actually said in scribe. They scribed something different, and that scribal tradition, that interpretive tradition, carried all the way throughout the ages. And y'all know, like I know, Job is one of the oldest books in the Bible. That's all I got. Again, sorry for all the rambling. Y'all rock with your boy. Todare. Bye.